Last year's rookie quarterback class wasn't too special, but this year we have some exciting prospects. Potentially 4 quarterbacks could go in the top 10 of the draft, and all have the chance to become day 1 starters as well. Some look like they're going to be sure things in the league and become franchise guys, while others look like they may need a couple of seasons before we truly judge them as successes or busts. Regardless, there's a lot that intrigues me about this quarterback class, and there's a lot to be optimistic about as well. Today, I'm going to look at the top 4 quarterbacks in this draft, or at least the ones that I think are guaranteed to go in the first round. I'll look at their positives, their negatives, and state my opinion on whether or not I think they'll work out in the NFL. So, let's get started.
Bryce Young did it all in college. He was Alabama's starter for 2 seasons, and in that time, won the Heisman Trophy, became a consensus All-American, made a national title game, and totaled 80 passing touchdowns and over 8,000 passing yards with the Crimson Tide. To me, Bryce Young is the best quarterback in this year's draft. I know people make a big deal out of his size, but what he lacks in frame, he makes up for in almost everything else. He's incredibly smart, poised in the pocket, very instinctual, and great at reading the field. For all the highlight reel plays he makes, Young's greatest attribute is his football IQ. Every time I watched him this season, it was on display. He has tremendous vision to see the field well, works through his progressions smoothly, and throws the ball with an innate sense of anticipation and timing. He'll read defenders off of his receivers to get them more space, get to his second, third, and even fourth reads if he has to, and pick any secondary apart. He not only has an in-depth understanding of how every cog in his offense operates, but he also has that with opposing defenses too. It seemed like no matter what kind of coverage was thrown at Young, he was able to dissect it and adjust accordingly with excellent results. That's one of the main reasons why Young is such a good decision maker and what makes him such a dangerous passer in the pocket. He's calm, poised, and can hit his receivers with an incredible amount of accuracy, especially in tight windows. Young's confidence to consistently throw balls into those tight windows stands out as well, and his skill at doing it makes it even more impressive. There were rarely times when he ever made a terrible throw in college, and his accuracy is definitely one of his strongest traits. Whether it's short, intermediate, or deep routes, there isn't a more accurate passer than Young in this draft. When Young has a clean pocket, you'll get an on-the-money throw from him. The way he's able to find spaces to throw the ball really just blows you away, and his ball placement got better and better as the season went on. Even when the play breaks down and he's under pressure, his accuracy and precision still shine. His ability to showcase this on deep balls is what really stands out as well. Young was able to rope deep balls in college that not only are comfortably placed in a receiver's hands, but also lead them far enough downfield to gain more separation and catch the ball in stride. He doesn't have a crazy strong arm like other QBs in the league do, but he can make all the required throws that an NFL QB needs to make. Young isn't much of a runner, or at least he doesn't like running too much, but he can certainly use his legs when needed. His pocket awareness is outstanding, and when the structure of a play breaks down, Young is a great improviser and can stay poised when scrambling to find an open receiver. His ability to do that is what makes some of his plays really stand out on tape, because there really was not another quarterback at the college level who could improvise and still make a great decision in an accurate throw as Young did. It's another reason why I'm not super worried about his size like others are, because his ability to escape the pocket and avoid hits was top-notch. If you're looking for someone that truly fits the bill of what kind of quarterback you need to win a Super Bowl with, Young fits that mold better than anyone in this draft. The only way he doesn't is his size, of course, but you quickly forget about that when you watch him play. What makes him the best quarterback in this draft is just how dynamic he is. He combines his IQ, awareness, and vision to see the field with an ability to escape pressure and extend plays to be a true playmaker. He runs his offense like a point guard, able to facilitate well and make intelligent decisions with lightning-quick speed and precision, and he's going to make any franchise he's a part of very happy. CJ Stroud doesn't exactly have the college resume of Bryce Young, but he still accomplished plenty at Ohio State. He was a Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year, a 2-time All-American, and a finalist for the Heisman Trophy last season with a 37-6 touchdown-to-interception ratio. He's definitely got the look of an NFL quarterback. If you're looking for the best pocket passer in the draft, CJ Stroud is your guy. There's no quarterback in the draft better at ball placement than this guy is, and he's a great anticipatory thrower that's also able to keep the ball out of harm's way. Like Young, he doesn't exactly have the arm talent of some of the elite QBs in the league currently, but I have no concerns about that. His passing skills are refined and polished, and Stroud can definitely diversify his throws too. He can throw the ball with touch, zip passes out pretty well with precision, and he does an excellent job of balancing when to be aggressive and when to just take what the defense gives him. I really like his ability to read the leverage of defensive backs and make throws accordingly. That's one of his best traits, and it allows him to make an accurate pass while also giving his receivers a chance to gain extra yards or turn upfield to make a play. Stroud performs well in a clean pocket. His mechanics are sharp, his footwork is very impressive, and he's precise with his movements, all of which make him a guy who can start on day one. Overall, he's another guy I consider very poised, and it leads well to how he can be so accurate and precise. When the pocket is clean and he has time, he can make almost any throw you want. He's a very clean pocket passer who can be a good asset if you have the proper structure around him. The reason why he's not my QB1 in this draft is because the main difference between him and Young is Young's ability to perform well out of structure. When the play breaks down, Stroud doesn't play as well. While Young can improvise and remain composed under pressure to deliver an accurate ball, Stroud can't do that as well. He doesn't take any kind of pressure well, and everything that makes him a good QB prospect isn't seen as much when that happens. His decision making takes a step back, his mechanics get thrown off, and he's a bit antsier in the pocket. At Ohio State, he needed everything to be in structure in order for him to make a play. When it wasn't, things went sour. That's also true with other NFL quarterbacks, but it's the main thing that puts him behind Young right now. If he goes to a team where the offensive line struggles, or a team whose wide receivers just can't separate as well, he will struggle to start. Growing pains will be there with any rookie, but it's a thing to keep in mind if Stroud ends up on a team that doesn't have an adequate system around him to support him. Stroud also seems to want to operate as a true pocket passer, and he doesn't use his legs as much as he should. We saw in the Peach Bowl against Georgia how mobile he's able to be, but we rarely saw that from Stroud throughout much of last season. I believe CJ Stroud will end up as a quality NFL starter, but there are just a couple of flaws in his game that don't make him as good as Young right now. These things can certainly be developed and fixed, but they will be there as a rookie. The team that drafts him will love his ball placement, his well-refined passing skills, and his ability to be a really good pocket passer. But if the team that drafts him doesn't put the necessary pieces around him, he will struggle. But if he goes to a team with all that in place, I think Stroud can thrive in the league. On paper, nothing Anthony Richardson did at Florida really stands out. He started just one season for the Gators, where he threw for over 2,500 passing yards, 17 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. On top of that, he had 654 rushing yards with 9 rushing touchdowns. While he had his moments, he definitely wasn't one of the SEC's best quarterbacks. But what I and many others like about him are the physical and athletic tools that he brings to the table. Anthony Richardson is the biggest wildcard in this draft. There's no telling how good or bad he will become in the NFL, but the more I watch his tape, the more I like him. He has a lot of athleticism, has a significant number of tools at his disposal, and his arm is as strong as anyone in this draft. He's a genuine dual-threat guy who can make plays with his legs just as much as he does with his arm. The athleticism is something that really stands out about him. He's a freak athlete and a physical marvel, and it was on display at the NFL Scouting Combine. Richardson ran a 4.4 40-yard dash, threw the ball more than 70 yards down the field, and measured in at 6 feet 4 inches tall with a 238-pound frame. The athleticism allows Richardson to add an extra element to his game, and allows him to make accurate throws or pick up yardage on the run when the play breaks down. The plays he's able to make just based on his athleticism alone are exceptional, and that's what makes his potential as high as it is. His passing skills have their ups and downs. Richardson's arm talent stands out as one of the pros of his game, and he's able to throw really good deep balls on the run or in the pocket. Honestly, some throws Richardson makes are ones that no other quarterback in this draft is able to make, and he's able to put a great amount of velocity on his deep ball and fit them into tight windows as well. Richardson also has the necessary discipline to go through his progressions as well. The downsides come with his mechanics and accuracy. His uncatchable pass rate was 28%, 7th worst in the country, and he was wildly inconsistent as a passer in college, especially with his ball placement. His footwork can also be sporadic, and he often over-relies on his arm strength to compensate for it with limited results. While he has the arm talent and athleticism, they're not backed up by any sound fundamentals right now. It also isn't promising that he exhibited all these flaws with just one season as a full starter at Florida. His ceiling is incredibly high, but his floor is just as low, making him the boom or bust quarterback in this draft. He's polarizing to the highest degree, and watching his tape will be a crazy experience that'll give you a little bit of everything. One play, he'll look like the next great generational quarterback, and the next he'll look like a backup on an XFL team. This can happen when you watch just one drive of his, let alone one game of his. That's what makes evaluating him so tricky, because you don't know exactly what kind of Anthony Richardson you will get at the next level. But if I had to pick a side, I'm putting my chips on him and buying in. I love his athleticism, arm talent, and his field vision, which is better than some give him credit for. He has his issues with mechanics and decision making that I've already gone over, but those can be ironed out with the right coaching staff and system around him. If you're counting on him to win Rookie of the Year, you'll be disappointed, but his potential is sky high and arguably higher than any other quarterback in this draft. If he improves some of his weaknesses, there's no telling how good he can become. Will Levis is another quarterback whose film seems impossible to evaluate. He started 2 seasons at Kentucky, throwing 46 total touchdowns with 25 interceptions, totaling 5,876 passing yards, and was part of the 2021 Kentucky team that finished with 10 wins and a top 20 finish in the AP poll. Like Richardson, he has many physical tools at his disposal. At 6'4" and 229 pounds, he's got the size you want in an NFL quarterback, along with good enough arm talent that can pop off on tape occasionally. If you ask a computer or an AI to make a rendering of what it thinks an NFL quarterback looks like, it would probably spit out Will Levis. But just because he looks like a great quarterback doesn't mean he will be one, and I have a lot more gripes about his game than I do with the other top QBs in this draft, and certainly more gripes about his game than I do positives to say. But first, let's look at those positives, which brings me to his arm strength. This to me is his best trait, as he's able to zip passes downfield precisely, put a ton of velocity on his throws, and make pretty good off-platform throws as well. His release is extremely quick and allowed him to make some impressive throws that I saw when I went through his tape. At times, he made his throws look easy, and he does well in using his eyes to read up defenders to give him more space to throw in the middle of the field, where Levis likes to throw it the most. Levis's rushing ability is also solid, and I feel like he could be slotted into rushing packages that Jalen Hurts gets with the Eagles just because of his size. Levis also ran an offense at Kentucky similar to those at the NFL level, especially ones like Kyle Shanahan runs with the 49ers or Sean McVay runs with the Rams, meaning he knows specific terminologies and play designs that are critical to know at the next level. But there are some major concerns that I have with his game. The first is his decision making. Levis could be more consistent regarding his post-snap reads, which leads him to throw the ball in the wrong spot for a potential turnover. He's not a very good processor right now, which can be very slow as he tries to read the defense as the play is ongoing. That can lead him to panic when he has trouble reading the coverage. His mechanics are a little bit better than Richardson's, but they can still seem off, especially when you see how he moves his feet before the throw. They can be unsettled and antsy, leading to some bad throws. While he does have a very good arm, Levis has trouble putting the right amount of air under his deep passes sometimes. Sometimes he'll do well to layer the ball over the top of a deep safety, but there are other times where he can't do that at all. He also has trouble anticipating throws, which can lead to some going wildly off target. On top of that, Levis has a turnover problem. He routinely puts the ball in harm's way, and had 17 fumbles throughout his college career. He must fix that before becoming a serviceable starter in the NFL. Like I said, Levis is almost impossible to evaluate. His footwork can be on point or wildly off. His passes can be incredibly accurate or extremely off target. His cannon of an arm can help him layer the ball over the top or overthrow his intended target by a mile. Levis has almost the same problems as Richardson, but without the athletic upside of Richardson. And in my mind, there's more that Richardson brings to the table right now. There's a better chance of you drafting Richardson and it working out, rather than drafting Levis and having it work out. And that's why Levis is my QB4 coming into the draft. If anything, I'd rather fail draft Richardson than fail draft Levis. He has all the physical tools you would want in a quarterback, but there's just way too much inconsistency with his tape without any athletic prowess to fall back on. If a team does draft him, they're drafting him for what he could be instead of what he is right now. If there's a quarterback I'd predict to bust out of these 4, I'd go with Levis without hesitation.
Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and that is the end of this video.